The streak is over. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watu-K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Quick shout out to all my subscribers. We have crossed the 800 subscriber threshold. Thank you for coming on this ride with me over the last, over a year and a half now. And now we are set to take the next journey up to 900. And when we hit 1,000, it's going to be awesome. All right, let's get into Jets versus Patriots. 2,933 days, 15 games. 8 years. The first time the Jets have won a game in New England since the playoff game back in 2010. Their first win against the Patriots since 2015. You know, I wanted the win. They got the win 17-3. Now, it was ugly for a while. You know, the snow looked great on the screen. I don't know if I've ever seen computer-generated yard markers on the screen before. I mean, that was pretty cool. But, man, it was hard to watch. These two offenses look absolutely inept. They would have been looking inept on grass, on turf, on concrete, on marble floor, sand, you name it. But in the snow, it was even worse. Punt after punt after punt. But the Jets found a way. The Jets had the difference maker, the most important player, and that was Breecehall, who had 170 yards in the game. The Patriots' offense, by comparison, 119 yards total. Wow. But the story of the game really was the Jets' defense holding the Pats to 1 of 14 on third down, held the Patriots to 119 yards total. As I just said, the Jets had 254 yards total. Funny, so think about that. Of the 254 yards the Jets had, 170 came from Breecehall. But another thing, let's point this out. The Jets had one penalty all game, and it was on special teams. Boy, did Coach Saleh have them ready to play, right? Now, I think the officials swallowed their whistle a couple of times. I mean, there were a couple of holdings and pass interferences that could have been called. They weren't called, fine by me. I almost wish they would call games like they did today during the rest of the season, to be honest. A couple things with the injuries. Looked like Wilson got hurt when jabrilpeppers basically drilled him in the neck. Looked a little scary, but he seemed to be okay. Joetippmann hurt his ankle, so chrisglaser had to come in and play center. And what are the Jets doing? First play, shotgun, and it's like a pop-up. When you have a fill-in center come in and he's really a guard, I don't think a shotgun snap in the snow is exactly the best decision to make. Just food for thought on that. But Breecehall, 37 carries for 178 yards on the ground. His previous high in his career was 22 carries, so he blew past that. Had the 50-yard touchdown to really put this game on ice. And I want to say, I put this guy over a lot. I'm going to do it again. Great block by my guy Nick Bawden, the fullback, to open that lane right up so Breece could take it to the house. And Breece has 994 yards total rushing for the season, just short of the 1,000-yard mark. But, if you think about if he had just a good offensive line to run behind, because this offensive line was horrible at run blocking. Horrible. You got to think, Breecehall, he is this offense. Good as Garrett Wilson is, Breece is what makes the offense go. He is the Jets' Barry Sanders. He is their Walter Payton in terms of value and what he means to the offense, and considering what he has around him, which is to say not a whole heck of a lot. But he is that valuable. And with the defense, I want to highlight a few players as well. The Jets had 7 sacks, 2 by Quinnen Williams, 2 by brycehuff. After the game, he said he was asked about his contract. He made it very specific. He would not give a hometown discount. He wants to get as much as he can get. He feels he has earned it. He's worked for it. Can't deny that. As a Jet fan, I'm obviously not happy to hear it, but I'm not shocked. I don't expect the Jets to franchise him and keep him. As of right now, the expected franchise amount for a defensive end is going to be a little bit north of $20 million. That is what we're hearing currently. I don't think the Jets are paying him $20 million for 1 year. Considering the Jets play him about half the time, I don't think they're going to offer him more than $14 to $15 million. My hope would be he would be willing to take maybe 12, 10, somewhere in that area, that 12 million. I know that sounds pretty low, but again, you got to remember, there are a lot of good free agent pass rushers that are coming up on the market this year. Wide receiver, pass rusher are two premium positions in free agency. Guys like Chase Young, Brian Burns, Danielle Hunter, Josh Allen from the Jaguars, all unrestricted free agents. Bryce Huff, to me, is on the next level because he doesn't play every single down. And I still think the reason they drafted willmcdonald is with the idea they would replace Bryce Huff. And with McDonald, you still see the explosiveness. You know what? Don't let the people who reference the playing time convince you that he is a bad pick. He is very raw but very capable. Had a sack today, and he has really shown some ability. I think this offseason will be important for him in terms of his football sense, his building his body correctly, playing the run so he can be a more useful defensive lineman for the Jets. Also, Ashtyndavis, we have to give him credit. There are a lot of Jets fans, even coming into this year, who wanted this guy off the team. But you know what? He has played a lot more defense than he ever has in his career, and he has more than filled in. He came in for Jordan Whitehead, who had a calf injury today. I'm pretty sure we have seen Whitehead's final game as a Jet. Davis has 5 tackles and an interception. He could very well be earning that second contract. Don't know if he's going to be a starting safety next year, but he is looking pretty dang good. I will say, if the Jets have a safety room of Tony Adams, if they bring back Chuck Clark, Ashtyndavis, and maybe a Trey Dean or a Jarek Bernard Converse, and you're spending very, very little money on the safety room, I like the sound of that. And as far as the Patriots go, and specifically Bill Belichick, what a sourpuss he is. He puts up his COVID mask, because he's too ashamed. He doesn't want the camera to see his, frozen face, And I'm not going to take anything away from him as a head coach. I don't subscribe to any of these people who said, well, Belichick never would have won anything if not for a certain quarterback. That's garbage. It's absolute garbage. You still need to coach 53 players, and he was always able to get a lot out of players who were, low-round draft picks, guys who weren't successful anywhere else. I can't take that away from Belichick, but what an absolute douchebag of a human being. I hope he is done in New England, because in the same way the Jets terminated the career of Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, they may very well have done the same thing to Bill Belichick's career in New England. And not only that, he is now tied for the most regular season losses of any head coach in the history of the NFL, and the Jets gave it to him. Good for you, Bill. You deserve it. All right, now let's get into the 3 key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game, something we do every single week. Your first play, 8:45 to go in the first quarter, and I'm cheating a little bit here, but you'll see why I'm doing this. I am actually using a Thomas Morstead punt as my first play. The reason why is because that punt was down inside the New England 3-yard line, down by Justin Hardy. And that is important because in a game that is so dominated by weather, that features 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL, field position matters a lot. So New England and their offense had to start right near their goal line. On that drive, they get 2 yards, they had to punt, and the Jets started on the 38-yard line, and they really didn't have to go very far, even though they did get it inside the red zone. But it led to Greg Zuerlein opening the scoring with one of the, I believe, 3 field goals that he would kick in that game. All right, so that's play number 1. Play number 2, New England has the ball now, and they're driving. All right, it's still 3-0 as best I remember. They have a 3rd and 4 on the Jets' 12-yard line. Zappe throws into the left side of the end zone to Mike Gesicki, a tight end who has not been getting a whole lot of attention this season. Hunter Henry's gotten a lot more time than him. Gesicki just doesn't get a whole lot of targets. Now, Tony Adams is covering Gesicki, but Gesicki has like a step on him. It's a well-placed ball. Gesicki appears to make the catch as he falls to the ground, but the ball suddenly comes loose and squirts out. It's an incomplete, and the Pats have to settle for a field goal. If they scored that touchdown, if Gesicki holds onto the ball, who knows how this game turns out. So that was a big, big missed opportunity by the New England offense. And play number 3 is also when the Patriots are on offense. The Jets are up 6-3 at this point, and New England has a 4th and 1 on their own 45. Now, there's 12-17 to go in the game, and the Pats go for it on 4th and 1. Now, I agree with that decision. If I'm Belichick, I make the same decision, going for it on the 45-yard line. But the play call, I didn't understand what they were doing. They throw a short pass to Pharaoh Brown, the backup to the backup tight end, who's had 12 passes thrown to him all year long, and the ball falls incomplete. The Jets take over. 8 plays later, they have a field goal, and now New England can't really tie the game with a kick. They were going to actually have to drive the ball down the field on the Jet defense and score a touchdown, something they showed they were not capable of doing during the entire game. And it just goes to show you, when your line can't block, it doesn't matter who's behind center. I mean, I don't understand why the Patriots didn't try to run the ball in that spot. I just didn't get it. So those are the 3 key plays, and I want to say this going forward, and we'll have plenty of time to get into free agency and the draft and all that fun stuff. But I got to say this here too, and I want to say this to my fellow Jets fans. I'm really sick and tired of the Jets fans who are looking to complain no matter what happens. There is a pocket of Jets fans that would have been complaining one way or another today. Either it's like, we lost to New England again, 16 in a row, this team doesn't play for solid, they don't care, fire everybody, what a lazy take that is. Or they'd be complaining about losing the draft spots. You can't have it both ways. Just be better than that. That's all I'm saying. All right, the Jets have the 10th draft pick, still a top 10 pick, a good place to draft. The last time they had the 10th pick overall, they drafted Garrett Wilson. So I'd say that worked out pretty well. And yes, we want tackle. I certainly want an offensive tackle if at all possible. I just want the player who can impact this offense immediately, whether it's a tackle or a receiver. My preference is because the free agent class is much better at wide receiver than tackle. I'd rather see them go receiver in free agency and then tackle in the draft, because it's going to be slim pickings in free agency. But think about it. It wasn't that long ago that the premier tackles in one of the NFL drafts were, Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu. Those were the tackles to draft, and neither one of those guys, I think, are going to be heading to the Pro Bowl anytime soon. But hopefully what we see in the first 9 picks, we see 3 quarterbacks at least. We know we'll see at least 2, very likely 3, and then 2 defensive players go in the top 9. That's my hope. And then that would leave, and then Marvin Harrison, of course, will be going in the top 9. But if that happens, that still leaves 2 of at least Odunze, Neighbors, Alt, and Fashanu. All right, so the 2nd and 3rd wide receiver and the top 2 tackles most likely. So that is what I personally hope happens. We'll see what winds up happening, but that is still almost 3 months away. But the regular season is in the books. It's a 7-win season, the same as what the Jets had last year. It's a kind of a different feeling 7-win season, considering where the expectations were, and there's really no doubt. I've been a huge defender of Joe Douglas. I've been a little more back and forth on Robert Saleh, but it's an absolute playoff mandate. There is no way that they can both come back if this team does not make the playoffs next year. I don't care if it's Aaron. I don't care who's playing quarterback. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers coming back. I don't care if they freaking bring back Chris Streveler. Playoffs, 13 years is enough. It is time to get back and to be one of the top 7 teams in the AFC. It's not asking too much. All right, well, those are my thoughts on Jets versus Patriots. Let me know your thoughts. Put them right down there in the comments. I'll see you Wednesday night at 10 p.m. for the live show. And, of course, we'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.